This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and today we're going to look at something kind of refreshing. Lately it's been a whole lot of Windows products. A lot of manufacturers are trying out Windows tablets this year. Of course, phones, but now we've got an Android tablet here. Finally, the LG G Pad 8.3. Kind of a weird name, but a very nice tablet, and we're going to look at it now. So this is the LG G Pad 8.3. This is a Wi-Fi only tablet that's been available in the US. You'll find it at Best Buy stores, mostly in the US. A couple of other retailers are carrying it as well. Thin 8.3-inch Android tablets. You guessed from the name, 8.3 indicates the screen size. And notice something that's a little special right back here. Metal. My goodness. In a world where Android tablets just keep getting cheaper and cheaper, and that means the materials they're made of as well, as they fight the Nexus 7 and other affordable tablets, it's nice to see one of the few tablets that actually goes with quality construction and features. So no, this isn't cheap. This is $349. And you'll find it on sale for $2.99 often enough at stores, so that's really not bad for the price. And it begs the question, why can't us Android people have nice things too? Well, here it is. We can, if people are willing to pay the price. Again, Android has become a lot about price cutting, competition, cut back on the features, cut back on the materials that are used, so it's up to you. If you want something that's nicer, that can compete with the iPad mini with Retina display and metal casing, high resolution display, good CPU inside, this is it. Now, Samsung is going to be releasing the Samsung Galaxy Tab Pro 8.4. That's going to be even $50 more expensive. This a little faster CPU inside, somewhat even higher resolution display. Honestly, the pixel count's getting to be insanely high in some of these tablets. Samsung too figures there might be a market for a quality higher end tablet. Even if you're happy with the Nexus 7, you just want something of a bigger display. This 8.3-inch display also addresses that. Honestly, I think that 8-inch tablets are the new 7-inch tablets. A lot of people feel the 7 inches are just kind of a little too small to look at comfortably, especially when they have higher resolution displays on them. And given how small the bezels are getting on these devices, the 8 inches really aren't that much bigger than the 7 inches. And for a size comparison, here's the Nexus 7. This is the latest edition, 2013. Of course, now the year is actually 2014, but hey, right next to our LG. So you can see not a huge difference in size there. There's a little bit of a difference, but for that little bit of extra size, you get a significantly bigger display, and that's kind of nice. Of course, our Nexus 7 sells for $229 for the base model, Wi-Fi only with the smallest amount of storage. That's what it looks like. It's an attractive tablet, but it's plastic all around. It's really meant to be, well, a budget item with pretty great specs from the price, and as you can see, it's made by ASUS. And now here it is with the iPad mini with Retina display beside it, which because of the aspect ratio, the display is a wider kind of tablet. So the LG is actually a little bit easier to hold one-handed if you have reasonably large size hands. They're both very thin tablets, and they both have metal backs. Now the iPad mini with Retina display starts at $399 for the 16 gig Wi-Fi version. The tablet has a 1920 by 1200 display. It's very nice, it's very colorful. The gamma is a little on the low side, making things look a little higher contrast and bluer, but overall, there's not significant color cast on here. Some people have complained about dark scenes in movies looking too dark. Well, if you turn the brightness up, not so much of a problem. Is this the brightest display we've ever seen? No, it's not. It's perfectly adequate, but if you're going to be using it outdoors a lot, you might not find it adequate. But for indoor use, it's plenty bright enough. To get to brightness and a million other settings here, this is a lot like the LG G2. The LG UI is here, so we've got our brightness slider. You can see we're at 83% right now. And we've got quick access here to a bunch of different basic settings for your wireless radios. Q-Pair, where you can actually pair this with an Android phone. Put the Q-Pair client on the Android phone, and you can see your text messages on there, who's calling, that sort of thing. And you can customize how many of these show up. Right now we have them all turned on. You can see this has Miracast wireless display. There's an option for controlling that as well. And you can have Q-Slide apps, which are your quick launch apps that float in a multitasking little window. Inside, we're running Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean, and LG has said KitKat is coming. Sorry, we don't know when it is. It is customized heavily with the LG UI, but it's not quite as intrusive, say, as it is on the LG G Flex, which has very kind of cartoony icons. These are pretty normal icons, transparent background on the back here, and all of those Q features, as LG likes to call them here. 3-finger swipe for multitasking. You can just use the button on the bottom if you want for multitasking. By the way, you can control the arrangement of the soft buttons here. There's another LG thing to do. And then, of course, we have that Q app functionality. So say we choose that, and it's going to tell us about, we can move and resize it, and there's our SunSpider JavaScript test that we ran. So you can have floating windows with all those applications. So that's pretty cool. It's not the split window style that Samsung does, though. You can actually arrange them and pretty much make a split window for yourself. But say you've got a video playing and you want to refer to a web page and look up something about the video. You can have the video playing in a transparent window on top of the web page. So pretty cool, pretty nice. Inside it has the horsepower to handle all that stuff. 2 gigs of RAM inside. Qualcomm Snapdragon 600 quad-core CPU with Adreno 320 graphics. Now in smartphones right now, the uber top of them all is the Snapdragon 800 quad-core, so this is one notch below. It's still a very fast CPU and GPU combo, and it is faster than the Nexus 7. So for those of you who are looking for a bit more performance, you get that in this package. It's a funny thing where Android tablets often have lesser CPUs than the flagship smartphones these days, when you could really use the power, you would think, in something with a bigger form factor, but that is the way it is. Anyway, more than fast enough, and I'll tell you some benchmark numbers so you can hear it for yourself. So on Quadrant, it scored 11,913. 3D Mark, the Ice Storm Extreme Test, 6480. Geekbench 3, 634 for the single core, 1901 for the multi-core. For Graphics Bench 3, the T-Rex test on and off screen are going to be the same because they're both going for full HD resolution, 13 frames per second. On Tutu, 22,644. And SunSpider using the WebKit web browser. This has both Chrome and the WebKit Android web browser on there, and the WebKit browser is usually the faster one. It scored 982. So those are pretty decent numbers, respectable, and much above the Samsung Galaxy Tab competitors. I don't mean the Pro models that they're coming out with. I mean the regular tabs, the Tab 7, the Tab 8, which are really kind of more budget-oriented in terms of the features, the specs, and the CPUs are not wildly powerful on those. The Kindle Fire HDX is going to be the one that really performs top of the line because it does have that Snapdragon 800 as well as a full HD display. But the thing with the Kindle Fire is it is a great product if you want to consume Kindle content, but it does have that customized UI. You're not getting a straight Android experience, and it's some work to actually try to get Google Play on there and Google Play applications. So it's still not what I would call a general purpose Android tablet. Another nice feature here, you can take a look around, stereo speakers. Usually 8-inch tablets, audio is not their strong point, whether that's the iPad mini with Retina display or the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, audio. This has quite nice audio. Aluminum here, plastic because the antennas run onto the ends. You can get this in your choice of black or white. 5-megapixel camera on the back. And on the side here we have our power sleep button and our volume controls. The bottom is our micro USB port for charging and for syncing. Microphone hole right there, so you can use this for Skype chat, Google Talk chat, whatever it is that you want, using the front 1.3 megapixel camera. That's right up here next to the light sensor. And up top we have the micro SD card slot. That sets it apart again from the Nexus 7 since Google hates removable storage and Nexus doesn't have a card slot. LG says it's compatible with cards up to 64 gigs. This supports the FAT32 file system only, so going up in storage capacity will be hard if you're formatted NTFS, for example, or EXFAT. And this is our 3.5 millimeter combo audio jack. Inside we have a 4600 milliamp battery. That's a pretty good sized battery that's competitive with the upcoming Galaxy Tab Pro 8.4 inch and bigger than what the Nexus 7 has. Of course, the Nexus 7 does have a slower CPU inside, and as with all these tablets, that battery is sealed inside. Weighs just over 11 ounces, so that pretty much is the same as the other 8-inch tablets on the market. It doesn't feel heavy. It's light enough if you want to pick it up, hold it, read a book for some hours, and for tablets this size, that really is a popular use for this. Reading ebooks, reading web pages. It's also great for video playback, too. It comes with Polaris Office 5, the full edition, so you can view, edit, and create MS Office documents, but I'm not sure how many of you actually make great use of content creation on a tablet this size. You could use a Bluetooth keyboard if you wanted to as well, though. Since this is a fully Google sanctioned tablet, you get all the standard Google applications on here, which includes your Gmail, your email. Again, like I said, you get both Chrome and the WebKit web browser on here. As you can see, I've loaded Firefox on this if you want. If you want to sideload Adobe Flash and use something like both browser that still supports Adobe Flash, you can. All the popular games will run on this. I've got a couple. I'm going to show you some of them. I've got Netflix installed on here. And of course, there's a bunch of LG applications. We have their LG Memo application. And this ties into their Notes application. So you can type notes, you can hand scribble notes if you want, you can paste in pictures, images, other things, and then there's a notebook app that helps you keep track of all of these things. And then there's Q Memo, which is the sliding note application, and you can do a screen capture and annotate on it. Again, that's pretty common with LG products. You've got that here too. So you can screen capture anything, take notes on top of that screen, send it to somebody if you want. Good to go. LG includes their own video player on here along with the stock Google player, and their video player is nice because it adds support for a couple more formats like DivX. This will play full HD video, no problem. It does not play 4K video, however. The app drawer is customized fairly lightly with apps. We have widgets separated out. We have settings over here. You can search for your applications, and settings will let you rearrange this to your heart's content. Despite the fairly heavy skinning that LG does, speed on this is just fine. We've got a little inertia dampening here to control the speed of these screens, and you get a big tutorial screen that tells you how to use all the features. Like, for example, knock on. This, just like LG phones, has a neat feature where if it's off, you tap the screen twice and it'll wake up, so you don't actually have to go hunting for the power button and press it. And we've got that Capture Plus, as I mentioned, the full screen capture that you can do multi-user support. I know that's important to a lot of you, especially those of you who have kids, so you can set up multiple users on this device, so you don't want your kids to have access for certain applications. And then we have Quick Remote, which is an AV remote control. This has an IR blaster on it. The application's a little bit less glitzy than Samsung's version of this. You get basic home theater AV remote control on this. You don't get any TV guide listing, and it doesn't support quite as many device categories as Samsung, but it's going to work with your TV and your DVR, your cable box, the basics they'll take care of just fine. For those of you who like the hardware, but you're not so much on the LG customizations, though, I tell you, once you get used to some of these nice little LG things like the knock on, knock off, and the quick capture, you might be hard-pressed to give them up. But anyway, if you don't want any of that stuff, there's also a Google Play Edition Google sells, and for the same $349 price, again, for the same CPU in here, same 2 gigs of RAM, same 16 gigs of internal storage, you can get a pure, straight Android vanilla experience with absolutely no software customization. So you get it both ways with this device, kind of nice. And as we launch the web browser here, so you can see what that experience is like, here's what the keyboard is like, and it's a good keyboard, very nice, very easy to use. Auditory feedback on this, by the way. This also has haptic vibration, the tablet. Number row up top, so quite pleasant to use. Plenty of real estate, obviously, for your fingers, given the fact that this is a fairly roomy display. And here we've got our website, and let's test out those speakers and some video playback. Let's look at the LG G Flex video review. By the way, speed is just fine on this pinch zooming. Again, this is one of the faster CPUs on the market, so no complaints about performance here. Different in this sea of seemingly like Android smartphones. Here it is, crazy loud, right? Curved 6-inch display. It's actually a flexible phone to a certain extent. It's not exactly a rubber band. I'm going to show you. I'm going to put some real force on it to flex it, but we're going to catching up there for a little lip sync. So here it is, the LG G Flex. I can make endless jokes about it. And of course, we're using Wi-Fi. This has dual band Wi-Fi, 802.11bgn, Bluetooth 4.0 as well. And yes, it has a GPS. No data, no 3G modem required for this. You just get GPS inside. So those of you who want to use that feature, good to go. So how about gaming? Let's check that out next. We've got Asphalt 8 on board. We'll test that because that's a pretty demanding and very pretty game. Asphalt 8 is a freemium driving game that uses the accelerometer. Pretty new, pretty nice graphics on board. And it's playing very smoothly. Whoa! And there is our wreck. So there's an example of one of the more demanding games, and it looks quite nice, and it plays very fluently on the LG G Pad 8.3. That Qualcomm Snapdragon 600 with Adreno 320 graphics is definitely up to the task. As you can see, even the home screen runs in landscape mode, should you prefer to do that. So how about battery life? Battery life has been quite good. 4,600 milliamps combined with that Snapdragon 600 work out pretty well. I've had absolutely no problem getting this to last a couple of days on a charge, and that's with using it for web browsing, doing email, playing some Netflix video on it, streaming some YouTube. You get the idea. So par for the course for an 8-inch tablet. Battery life is pretty darn good on this. Camera on the back, 5 megapixel, nothing to write home about, not hideous, not fantastic. It's okay for catching snaps. Undoubtedly, if you're an Android enthusiast, you may already have a higher megapixel camera on the back of your phone. So right now, it's kind of slim pickings for Android tablets this year. Like I mentioned, a lot of manufacturers are giving it a go with Windows 8 tablets to see what they can achieve. And certainly things like the Lenovo Mix 2 8-inch and the Dell 8-inch tablet, the Venue Pro, are competitors to this. So is the Nexus 7, as we mentioned, and obviously the iPad mini with Retina display. For those of you who prefer a mobile OS tablet to a Windows tablet, and you still want that versatility of Android, things like access to the file system, a little bit more open and customizable, it's really a very nice tablet. And for those of you who have a little more money to spend and you want higher end features like a bigger display and a faster CPU, it certainly is compelling compared to the Nexus 7 in those respects. You also get expandable storage. So that's the LG G Pad, pretty and metal, good looking tablet, nice size for the hand, portable, fits in a big pocket. Not bad. I mean, some of you might say it's priced a little high, but you can probably find it on $299 if you have a little patience, and for that money, it's a very nice Android tablet. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to visit our website for the full review, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.